Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cabby, the cab driver. Real name Michael Krepensek, but I like Cabby. It's been my nickname since college, and that's what I do. Hate Uber, love cab driving. Uh, Welcome to Left Turn at Alcatraz, the all access San Francisco podcast, radio show. I was going to say television show, but you definitely do not want to see me on television. I have my cohort in crime, Bruce Kessinger. He's over there across the bay, Berkeley, and we got a few guests calling tonight. If you want to join in, we're live at 347-205-9631. Affiliate of Mancini Sports. He has plenty of action on his plate with about 10 to 15 podcasts, each of different cities. All of them are good. Monday, Atlanta. Tuesday, Anaheim, the Halo guys. And then Thursday, we're going to have hockey coming up, Shut the Puck Up with Lou. Friday, you can find Mark Mancini on Sirius Sports Satellite 93 with Fred Waller. That's Friday nights at 10 p.m. on Sports Overnight America. Welcome to the show. San Francisco. What else doesn't happen in San Francisco? We just broke in a brand new New York show that's a regular on Wednesday afternoons or Wednesday evening if you're in New York. It's weird how that works. Something about the sun, all that garbage. We just wanted to welcome the New York show because we realized that they just had their first show and their Yankees are going to lose to our A's in the divisional playoffs. That's been coming for about a month. Yankees have no chance. It's going to be Oakland all the way. The only question is, will the Boston Red Sox have a chance against the great Oakland A's? Bruce, anything on the A's you want to start with?
You said it all. Of course, we're going to take care of the Yankees in no uncertain terms. My curiosity as to whether Bob Melvin, with the lack of starting arms, might try to do something funny, like start doing the the 1 or 2 innings early with the relief pitcher and try to use all the arms up. My guess is that the Yankees are going to go with Severino. So, with the lack of starting pitching, I'm kind of curious as to whether Bob Melvin is going to use a little imagination here. I was thinking about it myself. I'm not Bob Melvin, of course, and never will be. But I'm looking so forward to this. I will be glued to my television set, and how shall we say, calling some of my East Coast friends and talking loud and long about the glorious Oakland A's. So I think it's going to be a fun time. I'm hyped about it.
I did admire your slip of the tongue there with the SH word. You're absolutely right when you say television SH word, and that's what it is. If you don't believe me, check out what they call the new CBS fall lineup. Boy, what a pile of dung that is. I can't believe they're bringing back Murphy, Brown, and Magna. Those shows weren't that good in the first place, and those are supposed to be their front leaders. So good luck, CBS. I wish you well, but you know what? Thank God for radio because, I cannot watch TV anymore. Now, football, that's a different thing. That I can watch on TV all day. You got a great game coming up Thursday with the Minnesota, the Rams coming up. Wow, where did they pick that game from? That's kind of amazing how high level of game they got. Back to the A's, though. I think the A's are a little bit of a juggernaut. Yeah, the Yankees are coasting, but there's no way that they're content being the wild card team. I mean, it's been kind of locked in almost like a month now, and before that it was Seattle was locked in there until the A's made their fantastic run. Of course we're rooting for the A's, and of course being on the road is a big deal. I agree with you. I think they're going to do the start with relievers. It's Game 7 of the World Series. This game, wild card game. You do pull out all the stops, like you play your Lesters and you play your starting pitchers. You get your Chapmans out there. I can see the A's very easily maybe starting with Edwin Jackson, doing 2 or 3 innings, and then just go straight to matchups with the reliever corps and just say, okay, these 3 guys are up next. Let's find the guy on our relief staff, has the .1 batting averages against them, and we'll go with that. And yeah, you're right. I can see 6 pitchers playing for the A's and holding the lead. You don't need to not have a shutout to bring in your relievers, and it would be a great way to offset the Yankees. Maybe throw them a little curve ball there, as they call it in the biz, and get kind of the upper hand. Like I said, this is Game 7, starting with Game 1. So hopefully, and, we got a few other good leagues going on right now. A really great division. So if you listen to one of our earlier casts, I actually took Colorado when it was a choice between the Dodgers, Colorado, and Arizona. And Arizona completely fell off the table, but they did do enough to beat the Dodgers and put Colorado in the driver's seat. Our season with the Giants, we were giving it a funeral about a month ago, and we're going to do the same with Mark Mancini's Pittsburgh Pirates. Those guys really screwed up the Cubs, because now the Cubs have to play St. Louis, and St. Louis is tied for the second wild card spot with the loser of the National League West, whether it be Colorado or Dodgers. They're shared. They share the same number of losses. And the big thing with the Dodgers is, wow, talk about a season that was in turmoil, coming to an end, just the last gasp. But we're going to bring this team back. The San Francisco Giants. I can't tell you how big this series is. There is no way the Giants are not going to try to beat the Dodgers out of the playoffs. And depending on what happens between Chicago and St. Louis, this could be an epic series. Bumgarner's going to start. The rivalry is in there. I know we're going to have thousands of Dodger fans coming up here, because you know what? There's a good chance, and I'm not bad, but there's a good chance the Dodgers do not see the postseason if the cards are right. If St. Louis cards, by the way. Bruce, anything on the Giants and how big this series is for them?
Well, it would be a mini, it'd be just a good ending toward what's a miserable season. And you already have fired, I believe, the general manager, Bobby Evans. And, you're obviously looking to close it out in a big way. I think they're going to start a lot more of the youngsters, except when it comes to pitching. They're going to try to be competitive. I mean, they've already gotten into that position pretty much anyway with the amount of injuries they've had as it is. So I see them trying to be competitive, and I'm sure that you'll probably even see Pence start a game or two, just for old time's sake, because this is probably the last time he's going to be in a Giant uniform. So there's going to be incentive. From what I understand, they are going to keep Bochy for next year. So let's do it. Let's take those Dodgers out. Let's make it 1982 again. Terry Forster, Joe Morgan. I'm ready for that. There it is.
Yeah, I can't believe that's even in the cards to get rid of Bochy. There's no chance. Bochy's probably going to be sticking around longer than Socha has with the Angels. So they, there was that. I don't know where that remover came from, but that's like a kind of a goofball. I don't know. That's left field.
I don't know.
Past the foul pole.
With Bochy, I see potential. The only thing I could see that would make him quit is he's had some heart issues. Certainly, they have a manager in waiting there, and the bench coach he's their base coach this year. Actually, they promoted him, Ron Wotus, who certainly does deserve a job in the majors. But I've been reading the recent quotes of Bochy's, and he says his heart's still in the game. Of course he could retire, but I don't think he wants to. And they're certainly going to let him have carte blanche to go as long as he wants. So there it is.
Yeah. I like I said, I think if he was going to quit, he would have told us way sooner than now. And let's go to I want to go to the other one, because all of a sudden it became a very interesting race. The Colorado Rockies, half a game behind the Dodgers. Good luck to you guys. I think they're playing the Washington Nationals. Hopefully that Washington team, their heart's not in it. I disagree with you. I think Pence this might be his last year with the Giants. And I'm looking at he's probably going to play all 3 games. A lot of motivation there for him, swinging out the door. I don't see the Giants holding back anything. I think the youngsters are going to come in and do a minor, maybe a cameos. But I really believe the Giants are going to play this like it's a playoff that, they didn't make. But
sure.
Really interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Well, I was going to say, with the injuries that they have, they almost have to. I mean, you're going to definitely see Slater, and I think they're going to see Shaw. I mean, they might mix in. I think they're going to mix him in with, say, Hernandez in the outfield. And yes, I do. I think I did say that Pence would start. I think Pence will be in these games, just as a send-off anyway, Dodgers or no Dodgers. And your Colorado prediction certainly looms interesting at this point. It went up and down and all over the place. But of course, I'm for your prediction because it's not the Dodgers. And,
well, what I want to say about Colorado was they were on the brink of elimination. The Giants were about 5 games back to Arizona. They all had this logjam, and if you remember, the Colorado dropped about 3 or 4 games behind the Giants.
Yeah.
And basically, we're on the verge of elimination. And then just as that, they took the Giants out. I think they swept us and put us in the back seat into the 4th place position. But ever since then, Colorado has been playing crazy good baseball. They got a home field. Maybe their bullpen. The guy, he's ERA is like 4.2, but he's got 41 saves. So, hey, thanks for playing at Coors Field, buddy. But, like what you can't see in the stats, Colorado's pitching staff, it looks pretty good. What you take away the numbers that are inflated because of the playing at, where there's no atmosphere, like the moon. Denver Bronco games are the same kind of phenomenon. I am very impressed with the Milwaukee Brewers. I hope they go far. I hope they go deep. Right now, I think the wild card team in the West is half a game behind the St. Louis, who would be the next wild card team, and they got their problems coming up with the Cubs. But them playing games against the Cubs makes this window of opportunity for the Milwaukee Brewers to kind of get in there because, like the Cubs, they're only half a game back. They could have the best record in the National League. They could be the front team in the, Chicago kind of looked like they had it wrapped up, and now it's totally in doubt. Great job by Milwaukee Brewers, whether they do it or not. What a fantastic season. Getting Yelich, going with getting Kane, signing him to a 5-year contract for $90 million. That was a fantastic move. Kansas City sure misses him, I can tell you that. And really, Milwaukee probably should have fell off the table maybe mid-September, maybe early September in normal circumstances. But what they're doing and getting to within a half a game of the Cubs, this is the best part of baseball. This has been playoff baseball for the last couple of weeks in September. It's the third level playoffs, and it's just fantastic. God bless you guys. I'm even going to give a kudos to the Philadelphia Phillies. They completely dropped out. They chased the Braves all year till the end of September. The beginning of September. And you know what? Just because they blew it at the end, hey, it's a logjam at the top. The American League was kind of set in stone. The A's kind of chiseled that stone and got their faces in there. But great job by Milwaukee, Colorado Rockies, Atlanta Braves. Any of these teams could be better than the other counterparts. Keeping the Dodgers out of there and putting the Cubs into the wild card game could be the best way for one of these underdog teams to actually do something deep into the playoffs, if not deep into the World Series. What a great year of baseball. We're coming up to an end, but that was fantastic. I love this whole scenario, and I can't wait to go to these Giant games just to, bag on the Dodgers. And if on Sunday night the Dodgers are out of the playoffs, I will be there giving my condolences to all the fans that traveled up from Los Angeles. I don't know, Bruce, if you want to come to the front, you can go do that.
Okay.
Bruce?
Yeah. I'm in total agreement with you. Sorry about that.
No.
This is really an exciting end of the season. I love it.
Anything on Milwaukee you want to add? The Cubs or St. Louis? All these.
I'm right now. I'm just sort of watching it and I'm kind of being a fan without being. The fact, I will be honest with you. I'm watching it, but I'm not thinking who has the edge or what in that Central Division, because I'm watching the Western Division situation with the Giants, Colorado, and them, and the Dodgers, and kind of hoping the A's were going to catch the Yankees, which they still might. and get the home field advantage so I can go myself and heckle. You know? Hello? And, you know, I'm trying to, and I'm also torn between that and the football situation, of course. So, you know, I'm kind of overwhelmed by it all. Hello, are you still there?
Well, I'll tell you, yeah, I'm trying to see where Gabby went. He must have fell off the BART there. Yeah,
No. Hey,
okay, I'll get back.
Hello,
there
everybody.
He might
I
be
really
inside the
apologize.
basement. I'll get back to running the board here.
There we go. No.
Okay.
Yeah, don't ever worry about that. I apologize. What I do is I keep the thing on mute so you don't get background music when someone else is talking. I apologize for any inconvenience. We are now going to go to football since Bruce brought it up. I wasn't going to talk about football at all, but since Bruce brought it up, we're going to talk. Just a quickie, we're known as Left Turn at Alcatraz. We are broadcast from the most evil city in the world. Not Tripoli, no, not Washington, D.C. We're talking.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. Well, we might be worse than Tripoli, but you know, it's a coin toss, and it depends which nationality you're from too. And we're not Moscow, which is by far and away a lot more evil than Berkeley. But for all the pain and anguish Berkeley causes the Republican Party, well, you know what? Maybe you are the most evil city because the Nazis didn't scare them. The Eisenhower years, Cold War didn't scare them. Vietnam didn't scare them. But for some reason, Republicans are terrified of Berkeley, California. God knows why. We'll figure it out someday. Maybe they can do a scientific study on Berkeley, whatever it is that keys these Republicans to go bananas and what do you call it? Too happy. So speaking of Berkeley, home of
Berkeley,
the Cal Bears.
Berkeley. The Cal Bears
Yes.
are in the top 25. Thank you. We can lead into that. I'm not so sure if it's justified, but I'll go with it because I like seeing my team there in the top 25. With all the controversy about who's going to start at quarterback. But you know, the thing with it, you've discussed it before as far as cannon fodder for Division I teams, and it's like I see where it goes because now Cal's 3-0. You know, all of us are really, really interested. Everybody's hyped, and then you get into the Pac. You're going to get the Oregons and all the big Pac-12 teams, and then Cal will probably get buzzsawed, and then we'll be back to where things usually are. We're now no longer in the top 25. So that's where that stands. Stanford, unfortunately, is probably better than we are. And yeah, and
let me go into the north here a little bit, and then we can come back to you on Stanford. I do not get into the Stanford Cal thing with Bruce. Obviously, he loves Cal, hates Stanford, but I love both teams. If either team, you know, I love the Telford years when Aaron Rodgers was on Cal. Unbelievable program. Right now, the Pac-12 North is really looking like the powerhouse, and the Pac-10 South is really looking like they're hurting. San Diego State beat Arizona State, who had just beat Michigan State. So right now, the big games are, I think Stanford is the front-running horse. Their dilemma is that they have two big road games. But I do believe that if Stanford that's one with Notre Dame, and then in a few weeks they'll be playing Washington on the road, the other powerhouse. The entire Pacific North is loaded. It's Washington, Washington State, even the garbage Oregon State, not garbage, but last place. And then Oregon, that game with Stanford overtime was so fantastic. Unbelievable. They're down by 17. They got the Sarah Whiteside on there, Mr. Jump Ball. The one thing I loved about the national television show was they kept showing that he's, you know, Costello is looking great because all he's doing is basically throwing a pass at a point where everybody is. That's not a lot of talent. You kind of want to throw a ball away from defenders, but this Whiteside kid is so fantastic. He just gets up there and jumps and wrestles the whole thing. Kind of reminded me of the early days of Crabtree on the Niners on the Texas Tech. You don't have to have a lot of talent just to throw the ball up and have the Whiteside come and grab it. And then, of course, you always are offset by Love. Stanford win these 2 road games. I think they're like 4.5 point, maybe 5.5 point underdogs to Notre Dame this weekend. And they win that game, and they win. That's a non-divisional game, so it's not as key as the Washington game. But if they can beat Washington on the road, and they can beat, I think for Stanford, it's going to be downhill the rest of the entire season, and they have an excellent shot of being invited to the Final Four or whatever they call the football. The garbage they play on ESPN.
College bowl playoffs.
Yeah, that nobody ever watches because they're on ESPN. How the hell do you have a national championship for college football not on regular TV? I mean, ABC, I understand you like Dancing with the Stars and that Bachelorette garbage. But what the hell are you not playing? How do you not play that Georgia-Alabama game from last year? What a fantastic game. Georgia. Oh, go ahead.
I think, I was going to say, not having it on regular neighbor networks, it's like, for those who don't have cable or something, they should be able to watch football at the highest level. I mean, sometimes it makes me feel it's like gotten a little too elitist when that kind of stuff happens. I'm just throwing that in there,
Yeah, no, it's a great, but the point with this method is that you're not building on any kind of future. You're not giving this national, for years we've been bitching about a playoff system. We finally got one, and it's even that, like the Liberty Bell, is a little cracked. But this not playing the game only on cable. Not everybody is locked into cable TV. Not everybody's a zombie. I don't get cable not just because I don't like it. There's just not that many hours of TV I need to see that ESPN's going to add anything to it. Come on, guys.
The expense is not really that good for the money. What they offer isn't all that. I think depriving the common person and their families, frankly, of being able to watch the playoff games, even that goes even to regular American League, National League Baseball, whatever. It does not need to be on anything but network TV.
Right. Yeah, my mom's not going to get cable TV if the World Series is on Fox on Channel 2. That's our Channel 2 Fox in the Bay Area, folks.
Yeah.
She's going to watch it. But, this whole thing about playing Dancing with the Stars, you can bump that a week. It's the college, the game of college. And like I said, hopefully this year we get the Pac-10. Now I'd like to introduce a new segment here, and it's our Pac-10 Play of the Week. We search all the game films. We look for the greatest play in Pac-10 for the week. And this week, the Pac-10 Player of the Week is Chip the Buffalo mascot for the Colorado Buffaloes. They're Pac-10 South. What he did is he's a cheerleader. He had one of those T-shirt guns, and he was flinging T-shirts, and he reversed it so that he took a groin shot with the T-shirt gun, and you can see it on YouTube. It's like gone viral. It's the funniest thing you ever saw, and it looks exactly what it sounds like. This guy is shooting himself in the groin with a T-shirt gun, and for that, we give our first official Pac-12 Player of the Week goes to Chip the Buffalo, and a Buffalo Chip is what I think it is, right? It's pretty much,
yes, it is.
Okay, which is a cute name. But I was going to give it to Whiteside. I was thinking of Bryce Love for that fantastic Oregon game. But no, we're going to pick Colorado, Chip the Buffalo.
Yo. We having any problems here with the sound?
Sorry about that. My Seth Meyers tape on Chip the Buffalo guy. Are you guys still there?
Okay. Yeah, I am.
Okay. Well, I hope you agree with my pick, Bruce. I hope it's a unanimous decision there.
Yes, I'm down with that. Comedy before talent, I say.
What comedy? That was a groin injury. I think the NFL. Anytime I hear groin injury in a injury report, I cringe. I don't care what it is. We're guys. We're men. We should just say injury below the waist and above the knees.
Okay.
Even the inference of groin injury, I'm sitting here cringing. I really don't want to know about it. And, I feel for the guy. He took one for the team, as they say.
Yeah, but the team didn't cause it. He did.
Well, he's the team.
Yeah, okay. You can
he's kind of like
way,
the guy that ran a touchdown the wrong way and got a safety because he mixed up which direction on the field.
It's happened more than once. Roy Riegels, of course, for Cal, and then Jim Marshall.
I love it. And so now we're going to go into our NFL. We want to start with we're going to go. Not that we're tired of this topic. We love it. This was designed by Nagy. We're going to talk about Colin Kaepernick, and we're also going to talk about his teammate Eric Reid. This is a sour point for a lot of people. They were saying, "Oh, they're burning their Nike shoes," because Nike did the right thing and gave this guy a major contract. In other words, where Kaepernick was going to be, broke from only getting rookie pay and a low-paying Niner contract. Yeah, he did renege on a $10 million contract he didn't want to take, and and the entire Eric Reid thing has been playing out. He can't get a job in the NFL right now. Kaepernick, they say about the talent. Yeah, and it's ludicrous. It's beyond stupid. You're letting your emotions. We're talking about 20 or 30 teams saying, "I don't need a defensive back on principle." Okay, the NFL is filled with these morons that are true criminals. Okay, they beat their girlfriends. They sit there and they get away with crimes. They think they're elite. They think they can go to the nightclub, shoot a gun off, do whatever because they're NFL players. Okay, tell you what Kaepernick done and what Eric Reid has done is kneel during a flag wave. You don't want to show that on TV. Just pull the cameras off. Guess what, NFL? You're in charge of these cameras. You can say, hey, you know what? During the national anthem, don't take any picture of a kneeling player. Guess what? You just ended the problem for good. Okay. Now the players, they said, oh, we're going to fine you. We're going to fine the team. Blah, blah, blah. So now what do we got? We got a bunch of these players. I don't know if you saw Peters on the Rams, but he gets up, has a touchdown that puts him up by 17, not even a pivotal touchdown. And as he's spinning up, he grabs his crotch and does this other thing. And I don't need to see that. In the Cleveland Jets game, one of the players who used to play for Cleveland scored a return for a touchdown. He gets up, he takes the ball, wipes his butt with the ball, wings it into the stands. Okay, guess what? I'd rather see a guy kneeling during the national anthem to see that noise. Okay, I get it, and I like it that if it's a form of protest against the rules of the NFL, then you know what? I'll live with a little bit of disgustingness or a little bit of grossness or whatever you want to call it, because I assume that's what they're trying to do is, hit the limits of their exhibition rule or whatever you want to call it. Bruce, anything on that?
Yeah, we're gonna go. As far as like Eric Reid not getting signed, completely ridiculous. Top flight defensive back. Every team could use him. Kaepernick. Well, they had the paper a couple of days ago. One of the columnists was pushing the 49ers to go ahead and re-sign him. I don't know about that per se. I certainly the team that I thought should have signed him and still should sign him in lieu of what happened to Deshaun Watson in Houston last year. I mean, that was a team that could have signed Kaepernick right there, especially after Bob McNair had put his foot in his mouth about the inmates running the asylum. He could have took this foot right out of his mouth by signing Kaepernick and having him start and I knew this because, excuse me, sports fan, but yes, I gambled on this game because Tom Savage was the backup quarterback. And I'd seen Tom Savage at the beginning of the year, and he was downright awful. And it's not like he could run without throwing or avoid a rush. He couldn't do any of the above. Kaepernick can bring something to you. And Bob McNair had a chance to get his foot out of his mouth. He didn't do it last year, and he's not doing it again this year. And there are many teams that could use a Kaepernick as a backup. There's no question about it. I don't think maybe the Raiders. I don't know. I mean, they don't know what they're doing anyway. I can't go. I could go on forever about the Kaepernick, where Kaepernick should have been and whatever. And there's plenty of teams right now that, in fact, you'll have a situation like we do in the Middle East, a bunch of nations fighting over a capital. You're going to have the Cowboy Nation, the Raider Nation, the Cardinal Nation, and the Texan Nation all trying to seize complete control of Loserville. And, and some of these, with the exception of the Cardinals, 3 out of 4 of those owners are just complete blowhard loudmouths, and Jones, especially when you're talking about you're right about the beatings and the whatevers. I mean, you had Irvin snorting more cocaine in Colombia. You had Des Bryant beat his mom. They traded for Greg Hardy after his Carolina incidents as a domestic violence. And here's Jerry Jones leading this charge of patriotism. It's so hypocritical. And I could bag on these guys all day. So would you want to bag on somebody in particular today?
You know what? We're going to bring them up in a few seconds, but we have a new segment, too, along with our Pac-10 Player of the Week. And we're going to have Stupid Owner of the Week. Jerry Jones wins this week. We could bag on Mark Davis. We can go after Spanos. We can go after any owner. But from now on, once a week, we're going to pick a Stupid Owner of the Week, and we're going to nail him. We're not going to – no mercy. You're a billionaire. You got plenty of money. Jerry Jones is a prime example of the stupidity and hypocrisy of the league. This guy could have, I hear that he is one of the guys that now wants Eric Reid because, this year, for some reason, the secondaries are not there. Most of them look like they're a bunch of zombies from that Walking Dead AMC television show. Really great show, by the way. It's in its 8th season. Very compelling. But that's basically the secondary of about at least a third of the teams, if not more. Defense is suspect. That's part of the fact that Kaepernick, he's an old story. But Eric Reid is my centerpiece because, like you said, Eric Reid is better than any player, if not both the safeties on any team. There's no way that there's only maybe a handful of safeties that are better than Eric Reid. This guy should be on the a roster of a team. And if you're a coach and your team stinks, let's see, who am I thinking of? Oh, the 49ers. All of Detroit did was pass to this rookie that was sitting there. And then, Shanahan comes out this week and goes, Kaepernick's not our type of player. And I said, well, I could buy that. You don't want to bring Kaepernick back, a lot of controversy. But to not sign Eric Reid, the guy's in your house. He's in your wheelhouse. And to not sign, he's not our kind of player. I assume it's the same excuse as what you're saying with Kaepernick. What, a great defensive back or a great safety is not your kind of player? Really? Have you seen your secondary? Shanahan, his disease is that he lost his quarterback, Garoppolo. It's a tragedy. The 49ers at the front office, I know this is going to sound a little cruel, but I think they are okay with it because they did sell all these season tickets. In other words, the hope of Garoppolo probably increased ticket sales, and now that they got it locked in, okay, yeah, Garoppolo's hurt, but guess what? Everybody's still got to pay for those stupid season tickets. And guess what? If anybody has an extra ticket, I'd like to go to that Rams game because I want to see what the Super Bowl team looks like. You're an offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinators historically look like junk in the head coaching department. You're better off like Atlanta or having a defensive coordinator. If you're an offensive coordinator, you cannot tell me whether or not Eric Reid deserves to play. So you may be getting fired for that very reason. I hope that if you're a defensive back and you somewhere in your committee with the owner and the general manager said, hey, we're not going to sign this guy because he's kneeling. I said, great, go ahead with the garbage you got. Eric Reid, you know what? Don't worry about him because he's going to get a nice collusion thing. Everybody's telling me, it's hard to prove collusion. No, you only need 2 teams to prove collusion. The other thing with collusion is if baseball could have done it in the days of, remember when they had a collusion hearing and it was Jack Clark and all these free agents of the Giants, and they did have a collusion. Baseball has antitrust exemptions. Okay, football does not. In other words, if a court of law can oversee baseball's anti-Trump exemption, that's a legal battle. That's something that you're going to throw into the court system. That's not going to happen. But with football, trust me, you have such a tarnished image. You turned Kaepernick and Eric Reed into martyrs. You know what? If you just signed them, they would go away. They would get back to playing football. Everybody would be on the same page. But no, you are really helping Nike sell shoes because you're going to make this an issue for the next 2 years. It's the Nike issue is what a very gutsy move by a corporation to get on this side, the front of this thing and say, hey, Kaepernick, oh my God, somebody's sticking their pit bull on me, run. Now, so Kaepernick is the case of, this guy lost money. He's actually kind of brave because you know what? There was a good chance he was going to lose any future paycheck whatsoever. So for Nike to come in and give this guy some money, it's fantastic because, so you piss off a few, the white wasp people, for lack of a better term. Yeah, so what? They probably weren't buying your shoes too much anyway. But now you're going to have the entire urban area. They're going to buy shoes. The entire world. Look at it yesterday. We had Donald Trump talk to the UN. Everybody laughed like it was a stand-up act. And, Trump, like guys, first time you say, oh, wait a minute, these aren't my supporters. They're not going to just cheer at every stupid thing I say. And these guys actually laughed him off the podium, which was it's the exact same thing. These are the people that are going to be buying Nike shoes. So what if you lose a few sales in America, if you sell millions in China or in Europe, and Nike put themselves at the very top of this. I really hope that they kind of give Eric Reed a contract. We got a giant billboard in the middle of San Francisco, Kaepernick's big face and fuzzy hair up there, and I got to drive by it every day. I'm working in my taxi. I don't care about seeing it, but you know what? I'm definitely probably giving everybody Nikes for Christmas. So sorry to spoil your surprise present, but that's what you're getting from me. What about you, Bruce? Anything on these guys?
Well, wow, you can afford a bunch of Nikes to give to the relatives. Cool.
I go to the swap.
There's a couple things here. We're getting into quarterbacks, and I've sort of thrown in my things on the protestation thing as far as Reed and them are concerned. There's certain trends I've noticed, like you're talking about where you get to the DBs. I'm noticing a lot of these DBs aren't looking back on the ball and getting a lot of pass interferences this year. We're also seeing, if you'll recall way back in the day, when you had like guys like Scott Mitchell and Rob Johnson go 2-0 as backups, and then all of a sudden they're getting signed to these fat contracts, huge contracts, when they haven't played all that much. You gotta wonder here. I mean, Garoppolo certainly looks decent. I'm not saying he isn't, but you've got a rash of this. Tannehill gets a big contract. Let me throw in somebody else here. I've got to think of it. But there's more, and they're just not coming to mind. Okay, Derek Carr even. It's like these guys are getting huge, huge contracts when they haven't done enough, at least in my estimation, to deserve it. And I mean, it's not that Aaron Rodgers, okay, certainly probably the best quarterback in the NFL. Drew Brees gets it, no question. And even to an extent, I will agree with Ryan and maybe Cam Newton. But, I mean, you got these guys who are doing less than a year or they get traded over from one organization and getting this kind of money. It's like, it just seems a bit out of hand to me. A lot of things are out of hand in the NFL. And it's a league that's right now, I think, kind of eating itself, They're making the decisions are bad, and mainly owner, how shall we say, facilitated decisions on blackballing players, signing guys to like ridiculous contracts who may not live up to it. Because I do remember that Scott Mitchell and Rob Johnson bombed after they got signed as big free agents because they went 2 or 3-0 as backups when somebody went down. I see like right now it's like, Pat Mahomes isn't going to get a contract like that this year, but he looks better than any of those guys. The NFL has got a lot of issues they got to address. It just seems like how shall we say, an unintelligently run league at this point. And you're giving a commissioner who is so indecisive, 40-something million a year. By the way, I don't know if this is true. Did you hear a rumor about the Raiders going to Qualcomm for next year before they go to Vegas? I heard something to that effect today. Can that be confirmed?
Yep. I'm going to go with that on the subject with Reed. It's a big issue. I think they're turning them into martyrs, which is not a great move. Here we have do we have Mark just informed me, we have a caller from the windy city of Chicago, or as I heard it's going to be renamed Oprahville. Who's that from Chicago?
This is Brian Snow, a.k.a. the Snowman from Chicago. Good evening, gentlemen.
Oh, no, we're potheads strictly. Sorry, none of that snow. Or strictly legalized marijuana from California.
How you guys doing?
The finest in the world.
We're doing fine. What's up, Mr. Snow?
I agree with you, gentlemen, about how the NFL is being run. And for lack of a better term, it's getting on my nerves. Period.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, here I am, and I've played on a different show before this, NFL Expert, and sometimes I have to watch, and I'm gnashing my teeth. The general populace they've gotten declines in TV revenues. They've gotten declines in attendance. And for lack of I have to watch. Sometimes it's painful to watch. And by the way, speaking of painful to watch, the Cowboys are painful to watch. We're talking about Jerry Jones.
I laugh at the Cowboys, and I've been laughing at the Cowboys for a long time.
Good. Mr. Snow, may I ask, I feel, are you one of these people who hates them more than any other team in professional sports? Because I do.
You know something? There are a couple teams in professional sports that I simply cannot stand. Now, they're across different sports. One of them is the Cowboys. I've hated the Cowboys since 1981. And the reason I picked that year, a certain quarterback by the name of Joe Montana hit Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone to beat said Cowboys.
Yeah.
And the second team that I cannot stand because of their fan base is the Chicago Cubs. I can't stand the Cubs, and I live in Chicago.
Go Brewers!
Wow, that's a first.
Brewers.
I'm a Southsider born and bred. I've been a White Sox fan. My dad got me hooked on the White Sox. Recently, I've become a fan of the Giants because of one Buster Posey and one Madison Bumgarner. But I cannot absolutely stand the Cubs, and I've said this before on my show, because of their fan base.
Okay, the lovable losers. Well, my problem with the Cubs was, of course, they had a shortstop who had the same last name, and I, of course, lied to my other classmates when they said, "Are you related to them?" And of course, I was related to Don Kessinger. And as soon as the Cubs let him go, well, that was the end for me.
I was going to change my name to Cabby Santos, but I decided against it. I just didn't want to start any controversy there.
Well, the thing about the Cubs. Though the thing about the Cubs is you love Ernie Banks. Ernie Banks is one of the most likable players in history. But you're right. In general, I don't like the Cubs fans. Definitely.
I cannot stand. And you know something? I've had so many of my friends try to convert me to being a Cub fan. Hell no, I'm not doing that.
I like the AL. I like the AL National League thing. We have the same problem here with the A's and Giants, and I really don't get into that. It's two different leagues. I know you hate the White Cubs or you love the White Sox. I cannot hate the A's. I cannot hate the Giants. It's all BS. Just because they played in '89, it's like, what, you wanted the Giants to throw the game? My problem with the Cubs is that they enabled the New York Yankees a couple years ago. They did this fine run. They won the World Series.
Yep.
But they traded the farm for Chapman. Chapman was a Cub for 2 months. Okay, here's a bunch of bullpen guys. You have bullpens now are so intricate, are so on top of everything. You know which players are pitching good against, and the first Cub reliever in Game 7 of the World Series. This is your epiphany. And what happens? Chapman, the guy that's been a Cub for about 2 months, gives up a 3-run homer to Rajai Davis's home run, ties the game up. And what happened? Gregorius has got traded, a bunch of minor leaguers, and then he goes back and signs with the Yankees. It's another topic for another day. But I hate when you have a bullpen that helps you win 100 games in the year, and then the World Series comes up, Game 7, and all these teams are guilty of it. Play these guys. Come on. That bullpen is what got you the 100 wins. I don't care how good these guys hit, how good the starting pitching last. Kansas City won the World Series with a bullpen. They set the record, they set the Major League record. Kansas City's in the AL, by the way, for our lesser-known sports fans. And they set the record for comeback wins in the 6th inning or later. Okay, the only reason you set that record is because your bullpen is lights out. Okay, play those guys quickly. They played Lester. What the Lester? Who the hell was the starting pitcher? Here's 4 guys, 4 good bullpenners. Game 7, and the first pitcher they put from their normal rotation of relievers was the 12th or 11th inning. And that Cub guy, he ended up getting the win because of that. But that's ridiculous. So you're punishing these guys. The Giants did it in 2014. They put Mad Bum out there. Guess what? The next year, Giants bullpen completely disintegrated. Why? Morally, you're pitching all year, but when the big game's coming, they ain't going to do, you're not going to do crap. And look at one of our guys. He's Tampa Bay's reliever now, Romo. He couldn't find a job. Yeah, couldn't find a job. Now, Tampa Bay.
And Romo was the closer, my memory serves me correctly, 2012.
Right.
2012, yes. He struck out Cabrera on
right, but the thing is they didn't pitch him in the final game, and I think it's unfair to these guys. They're the unheralded heroes. They're not getting the paychecks as starters or the position players are getting. And so here comes a golden moment, and you just screw them over by, we're going to pitch Lester as a reliever. Sorry about that, guys. You guys go sit in the bullpen. What is that? But
this is what I've always said about playoff teams and their lack of a bullpen. Just ask the Los Angeles Dodgers the last couple of years. If you can get to 1 with no problem, how the hell are you going to get to 9 if you don't have 7 and 8? To get you there, which is what got you there through the regular season in the first place. The Dodgers found that out the hard way.
Yep. Yeah. I think the Astros do a good job. They put Peacock in there, but that was a pre-move. Astros won. The reason the Astros beat the Dodgers last year is because Game 7 comes up. They're pitching Darvish. Everybody wants to blame Darvish. I got news for you. The Houston Astros probably played Darvish for about 5 years. Okay, so when you come up in a World Series, you really ain't supposed to see the other pitcher. I believe all pitchers have about 10 at bats before you start figuring out the guy. Okay, that's the thing about a reliever. Like the A's have these rookie relievers. You've never seen the guy. Even if you saw the A's in the regular season, you probably had 1, maybe 2 at bats against Trennan, and you have no idea how to attack this guy from a batter's level. And it's the same for any reliever.
No idea how to attack him, like you just said. No idea whatsoever.
Now, when the Astros saw Darvish, they saw him on the Rangers. They were not the Astros that won the World Series. They were the upcoming, building the future Astros. And if you could have beat him then, if you saw him that many times, and then he's the guy the Dodgers throw, guess what? They beat the Dodgers by small ball. Dodgers have this year. They're about to this Chris guy. If he hits a home run, Dodgers will have 8 guys hitting 20 home runs. Guess what? That's fine by me because you know what? That does not win in the playoffs. You need base hits. You need doubles. You need gappers. The A's are double crazy. Everybody says, the A's batting averages are low. No, Look at the doubles. Look at the triples.
Yep.
The extra base.
The Astros played small ball. The A's played small ball. And even going back to 2005, the White Sox were experts in small ball. That's what got them an 11-1 record in the playoffs. They nearly had an undefeated record, had it not been for the Angels coming off of a win against the Yankees traveling that night into Chicago. The White Sox had a chance to rest, and they couldn't play any small ball because the pitcher the Angels started that night, and his name escapes me. I can't think of his name, but he pitched a hell of a ball game against a ball club that was perceived as a power-hitting club. But the White Sox in 2005, just like the A's, just like the Astros, and all the teams that can put great offenses together, nickeled and dimed you to death.
No, I see that. I like that. I like the theory. And I have this philosophy, and it's in real baseball. It says a home run, if it's hit up the gap, that's a great home run, because had it not been a home run, it still would have been a double up the gap.
Yep.
Okay. Something that the left fielder camps under and it barely clears the wall. That you give the guy the home run in the game, but on the stats you give him a fly out to the outfielder, because that's a bunch of that was a garbage hit. A great home run hitter it's about 1 in 10. Okay, so batting average. Let's go with 300, just for lack of an easier number. Okay, that's what you're going to do. Is if you're swinging for the fences, you have a 1 in 10 shot. I got news for you. That 1 in 10 is from the entire league of crappy pitchers, the last place teams. When you are in the World Series, when you're in the Division Series Finals, you're not facing the crappiest pitcher. You're fighting the best of the best. So guess what? Home run hitters are going to tank. It's just nature's way. They want to hit the home run. We got a few minutes here left. I love talking about you. We're going to keep Chicago Brian on the line. Man, or whatever that means.
Who found out the hard way last year about lack of production in the division series? The Cleveland Indians. Because remember, they raced out to a 2-0 lead using the long ball. In fact, they shut out the Yankees in Game 1. It took a grand slam to get them even in Game 2. Games 3 through 5 could not come up with the key hit. They were always swinging for the downs, and that's why in Games 3 through 5 they batted, in essence, .214 in those final 3 games.
Yeah, baseball is way too intricate nowadays with the youth. I love the youth, the athleticism of the youth. They're getting experience, but I think the baseball swing, because of these cavernous parks were built by the steroid era. They make these home runs. Barry Bonds, everybody wants to bag on him. I'll tell you what, for every home run that steroids gave Bonds, AT&T Park took it away. That's the hardest park to get a home run in. I saw, at least 15 that year when he hit 70-something that would have been out anywhere else. If he played in the Yankee Stadium, Barry Bonds would have 1,000 home runs, and I'm not even exaggerating or blowing that number. We got a few minutes left, so we're going to go to the Oakland Raiders. I promised Bruce. He's a Raider fan for a little while longer. We're going to sue the city of Chicago to get Khalil Mack back.
No, I was going to congratulate Mr. Snow's city on taking advantage of an imbecile owner, and one of the best at being an imbecile owner, and that is Mark Davis. I
was going to say we're doing stupid owners once every week. So
right now there's just a litany of things that he's done. First off,
I'm going to put it on Gruden though. I'm blaming Gruden.
That trade is on Gruden. Trade is on Gruden. What people should know here is you paid him $10 million a year. If I'm Reggie McKenzie right now, if I have any pride, I walk away from that organization. He had nothing to do with that. He's a linebacker. You know that Gruden had something to do with it. And there's another slap in the face to Oakland. It was like when he first comes in, yes, we're planning on winning now. No, you're not. You wouldn't have made that trade if you were planning on winning now. You just traded any chance of even maybe going 8-8, let alone making the playoffs. They're not
the Bears are going to make that pick garbage. And you know what? I thought the Bears would be like, if they won 5 or 6 games, that pick would be worth something. Those 2 picks.
But
they're going over 500 right now.
Well, no, the Bears have one of the most dynamic linebacking crews you can imagine. They got Roquan Smith in the draft, and I totally it didn't cross my mind. I think that Danny Trevathan came over from Denver when John Fox came. So they're loaded at that position. It's a good defensive team. And, getting Khalil Mack might make up for the fact that you traded 2 draft picks to get Mitch Trubisky. But that's neither here nor there.
You know what?
We'll see.
On that note, and I'll make this quick. The Bears have been fleeced the last 2 drafts. 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted Trubisky, but you trade a couple of draft picks to get him when he was already on the board in the first place. And this is after San Francisco drafted Solomon Thomas. The Niners wanted Thomas, to solidify that defensive line. But then they had a willing participant in what could be, for lack of a better term, a rape of a draft. And you surrendered 2 picks to get the person that was already on the board, to move up to get the person that was already on the board in the first place. You talk about Oakland making a stupid move. The Bears have made a stupid move the past 2 seasons when it came to the draft.
Well,
maybe that's why
Oakland's been bad in the draft, period. In the Mark Davis era, I mean, I can think the Khalil Mack, Derek Carr was your 1-2. That was really the draft that was good. There hasn't been anything else. And
it really hasn't.
Let's face it, Mark Davis and his crew have insulted the city of Oakland, which I grew up with the Stabler era Raiders. It was a lot of fun. It was great. There's just too much. It's really one of those, I can't wait for them to leave. It's almost embarrassing. It's almost embarrassing listening to the Raider Nation. The Raider Nation, they're going to Vegas. They're still the Raiders. Oakland's in the DNA. That's long gone, man. And I don't know if you out in Chicago are aware, they fired 2 announcers, Greg Papa and Tom Flores,
who have been longtime voices of the Raiders and have had the Raiders fabric for as long as they have.
Good knowledge, sir. Good knowledge. You know what the deal is with that? He's trying to make this his team. Nobody that has anything to do with Al Davis, or at least on friendly terms, is with the team anymore. It's gone. All of them.
Hey, one final note. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of how the city of Seattle got fleeced when they lost the Supersonics.
That team there should never have moved.
Nope. I want to go back to Gruden here real quick. We are running out of time here. I want to thank Mark Mancini, all those our affiliates. Chicago now. We got Chicago, big city. They have sports in Chicago? Wow. Let's see, Atlanta, we have Los Angeles, Anaheim, the stables, as Mark likes to call them. But does that mean we're like a bunch of hookers, or I'm not sure how that works. I want to talk about Gruden. Final. I don't see Gruden being a 500 coach for another 3 or 4 years. I'm including us starting the season at 1-1. That guy, he's pulled out of the booth. Ridiculous contract. The guy is, and this is just a small point. Okay, when you're in a booth, he's sitting there going, this is him on ESPN. He goes, if I ran that last play, I'd ran right up the middle there. Look at the giant gap. I says, we don't need to know about the giant gap after the play is run. We need to know about a giant gap before the play is called, before it runs down. That's what makes him so ridiculous. And then we were watching the first game. Yeah, and this is the first game, and we were losing it because I said, he's in the booth the whole game. Okay, it's like television viewers from Los Angeles. You go to a live game, it's not the same thing. It's going to take a long time for the city of Los Angeles to get used to football not on television. You don't have the first downs, you don't have the markers, the lineups. You have to look at from like 100 yards away and go, where's the first down at? But a live game is like where the action is. Gruden's line of sight as a booth announcer was a 45-degree angle of an overview of the entire field. When he's down on the field, he's looking at the players at an eye level. You're not seeing the same thing. There's no way in 2002 you're going to reacclimate and be able to do that.
Our pal Lou wants to come in on us real quick.
Okay, Lou, what's happening, man? My hockey partner.
That's true. Yeah.
Bears or Raiders? You have your choice.
Raiders. But right now it doesn't seem the Raiders are doing so. The Rams are the talk of LA.
Not for long.
You don't think so?
Nope. And I will tell you why. It's early, They have not faced a defense that can do something the Chargers actually did to Jared Goff. Pressure him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
By week 11, this team full of stars on defense will go the way of the LA Lakers this coming NBA season. They will implode.
Ooh.
I said it, and
You're
I'm
a Warrior
putting it,
fan, you know that. Right.
I'm Dub Nation all day,
Those
baby,
fighting
since the
words.
days of Run TMC.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
Since
I didn't
today,
like
all
those.
right.
Yeah.
I
Those-
became there are three teams in the NBA I follow religiously: the Bulls because of my hometown, the Spurs because of the way they play basketball, and the Dubs because of the way they play basketball. Everybody in the NBA is chasing the Warriors, and they ain't gonna catch them for at least 4 years.
There we go. I
We
like
called
that.
it 3 feet
You're my kind
2
of
years
guy.
ago.
Call in every week.
Hey, I want to thank everybody for calling in. Lou, I love having you. Snowman, if you can get us
Thank
a little
you.
of that snow, send it
Thanks,
to Mark
Snow.
Mancini. He'll make sure we get it. Bruce,
Thank you.
stay on your side of the bay. I'll stay on mine. I want to
always.
thank all the shows, Mark Mancini, for putting up with this noise. And we're going to say goodbye to everybody. I hope you learned something. I hope you take a little more passionate view of Eric Reed and Colin Kaepernick, because they do deserve it. Nobody deserves to lose their job because you had a mini protest. I mean, if you were setting stuff on fire, yeah, but not for just kneeling on the ground. That's ridiculous. NFL, get your heads together. Your mafia is imploding. Maybe we can open up Alcatraz and we'll only jail NFL owners from now on. I want to thank you guys for calling and catch Mark on Sirius Satellite. And I want to appreciate all the help you guys did. We made it a great show. It was funny, informative, and welcome everybody to the new shows. And I cannot wait for Shut the Puck Up with Lou. We do a great hockey show. We actually tell you the right teams to bet and gamble on, worth listening to. And once again, thank you, Mark, Bruce, Snowman, and Lou. Yeah, thanks for checking us out.
Good night, everybody.
Alcatraz. There you
Good
go.
night, everybody.
Have a good one, people.